Welcome back, everybody, to the final game between Suicide Kings and Omega Gaming Unleashed here. I'm Rudu, joined finally once again by It's a Meme You Dip on the casting desk. And this is game number 3 here. Do or die for all of the marbles right now. Meme, how are you feeling? What are you looking forward to? I've got so many questions. What are you going to see? Oh,
I that's we're going right into her. So we got a bunch of bands already. Obviously, the Own being banned from Suicide Kings again. The Galio actually taking a huge priority here from Suicide Kings. I'd love to see a little bit more priority on the Senna, as this is such a strong pick and was just ignored by both teams last game. And so I'm not sure if they're just not comfortable on it, or if they don't just think that it fit well with their team comp. But I'm interested to see if we can play around that a little bit more. Nocturne coming in from the side of Omega Gaming.
yeah, they take that away, and that just denies the double global effect from Suicide Kings here, and this also opens up Unleashed to maybe take a double global themselves. Twisted Fate still available, so is Shen, but instead we're gonna go for the Ezreal.
Gonna go for that safe ADC pick. You want to get into those late game scaling potential areas and just play safe and farm till you get there. Ezreal is the pick for you. However, I look for Suicide Kings to potentially pick Camille here, as the Camille Galio combo is so incredibly strong. You lock someone down with that Hextech ultimatum, immediately follow in with the hero's entrance, and that's just a dead person. That's normally how it goes.
It,
However, the vein getting picked back up again, dude. And last game it was so effective. Really, really showing up from Reeve on that pick.
yeah, and once again here, it's Unleashed picking champions that kind of don't do so well into a vein, I want to say, just in terms of AD carries. Sivir and Ezreal, the two probably best lanes that a Vayne can hope for, both in terms of just their auto attacks, fairly short range. And when we look at Ezreal in a micro 1 versus the Vayne, the tumble to dodge Mystic shots is a real possibility. Lots of outplay potential for the Vayne, and it's definitely harder for the Ezreal to execute in these 1 versus 1s, especially when this new age Ezreal build comes through, where landing your Mystic shots is so important. Because you go for this Iceborne Gauntlet for the Death Dance, you're focused more on sustained damage from your spells and not so much the auto attacks that you can put out.
And just the blindside Mordekaiser pick coming through there from Omega Gaming. Did not want it to get banned again. Great pick, honestly. Mordekaiser is a very, very strong pick right now. Just that the power of that ultimate, also just in general pick power from his claw. He's a great team fighter. He's super valuable in team fights. And so, really strong blindside pick. One thing I want to note here is that Galio could potentially be, I'm assuming it's going in the mid lane because that's very often where it goes. However, I have been hearing rumblings about Galio support potentially making its way into the meta. And so, I'd be interested to see if this could be potentially a flex pick to Galio support.
Yeah, I mean, when Unleashed are targeting bans at support still, there's definitely a world where the Galio gets flexed down to support and essentially means that Unleashed have wasted 2 bans here. Or should they go for a second support ban, that is, of course. I want to quickly, and they do come through with the second one there, highlight the fact that this Mordekaiser has been taken blind, and you talked about it, but just blind picking a top lane, it feels really dangerous here because it's been such a volatile lane so far. I really want to keep an eye on how that top lane develops, just because it's been fairly impactful so far. Mid lane has been kind of all over the place with Princeton's Yasuo, his Yone as well, both of which get banned away. But the top lane feels like had much more of an impact in at least that game number 2.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that they would early pick that. However, one thing that has been banned for the past 2 rounds that is now open on the side of Omega Gaming is the Diana for Princeton. I'm assuming based on the respectful bans for the past 2 games, he's a very, very good Diana player. And so I'm interested to see if that takes priority. It is the Nautilus coming in to potentially lock down that vein, with the depth charge and the hook, just to really lock her and potentially just blow her up and have a little bit more potential CC to just negate how slippery that vein can get and the outplay potential there.
Yeah, exactly. And I talk about all of these champions that don't fare so well into a Vayne. Nautilus is the complete opposite. You literally have to be on the same screen as the Vayne and then hover over her and press one button to CC her. This, though, This is the counter pick to Nautilus and to that no outplay potential that the Vayne is going to be looking for. And Morgana by her side with that black shield is going to enable the Vayne so much.
Ooh, and the Darius to pair with it. The Noxian Guillotine just ready to rumble here up against this Mordekaiser. And if you want to talk about someone who excels in a 1v1 situation, Darius is that champion. And so if you're looking, Mordekaiser puts you in the death realm, you just dunk on him, right? You just get in his face and you dunk on him. Very, very interesting counter pick here coming through from the side of Suicide Kings. Lucian potentially to be locked in here in the mid lane, as it is a Galio, and there's a lot of outplay potential to dodge the taunt with the Lucian dash, as well as you have a lot more lane pressure. So interested to see how Princeton does on this Lucian up against this Galio. However, Vayne Morgana looking like a scary lane.
Definitely, as we go later and later into the game as well, just we saw how well Reeve was able to play out that game on the Vayne. Pretty much flawless execution in nearly all situations. The way that he's navigating the team fights, navigating all of the spells and the CC, literally everything. The Vayne went absolutely huge. There's no other way of talking about it other than the fact that it was just a monster. So seeing it once again here for Reeve is going to be something that we need to look forward to and look if he can have the same level of performance that he did in game number 2. The Morgana by his side, the black shield coming on through, is going to mean that he's able to navigate these team fights with even more comfort. For doesn't need to be fearful of the CC.
Yeah, and definitely it'll be interesting to see where Malcolm tries to poise with this Nocturne when he hits level 6. Obviously, as Nocturne, your goal is to hit level 6 as quickly as possible. And so I'm interested to see where he prioritizes, if he prioritizes shutting this Vayne down immediately, or if he looks to, potentially scale the Lucian game out of and snowball it out of control. Maybe looks to help the Mordekaiser in the top lane. Depends, what his jungle pathing is, what lanes are pushed. But I'm interested to see how effective he can be with this Nocturne, because we haven't seen this Nocturne yet. We've only seen his Lilia, and I'm trying to remember what he played in this Olaf in game one, which are
Exactly.
both very different champions. This is a very dive champion, right? It's not a run at you fast champion. This is a dive champion,
Yeah,
and
the
so
full
interested to
wheelhouse
see.
for Malcolm right now. We had, the controlled Lilia style, the aggressive Olaf style, and now we're going to get a very different take with the Nocturne. One of those champions that wants to reach level 6 before has that level of impact, but once he reaches level 6, there's absolutely no doubt what he's trying to accomplish, trying to get into the backline and essentially kill this Vayne, because if we look at targets for the Nocturne to ultimate, there is really only the one. If the Nocturne's going on anybody other than the Vayne in these situations, in these team fights, then it's not the target that they need to be focusing. Short of the Galio having 10 kills within 10 minutes, I really wouldn't like to see anything else happening with this, Nocturne pick.
Yeah, and interested to see how Dread Joker fares on the Lilia this time around. He did play it in game one, however, didn't really have the full effectiveness that they were looking for. Interested to see if he picks it up this game and is able to find those strong 5v5 team fights. Potentially weaving his way around those team fights a little bit more. He did have some great plays in great game one, however, obviously they did not come out with the win, and so it's very, very important for him to find that effectiveness and to be the same carry jungler that he was last game on that Karthus. And so I'm interested to see how he plays out this game.
Yeah, I'm not quite expecting a Flame Horizon this game. Short of once again just an absolute dominating performance coming through from the jungle disparities. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult for the Nocturne at least to keep up in farm, because Nocturne as well is one of those champions where just with one Q, typically within the space of a Duskbringer, within the space of one of those Nocturne Qs, you are able to clear the camp in most situations. I mean, this is very generally speaking once we've got that warrior enchant completed. But the Nocturne, fairly safe farming as well, and definitely can have the successes in the early game that a Lilia can as well.
Yep, interested to see how this game plays out. I think win conditions, looking at both sides, the win conditions will be for the Nocturne to power farm. Look for those ganks onto the Vayne, shut her down early, and be able to potentially scale the Ezreal Nautilus and have the Lucian snowball his lane. From the side of SK, they just want to sit back for the most part, let the Vayne get fed, maybe look for the Darius 1v1 on the top side, but their win condition is their Vayne getting ahead, Galio Morgana playing around that, and looking for that huge Vayne that we saw in the last game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's very obvious that whenever you pick any vein, or whenever any team picks a vein, that is automatically a win condition, right? Like this champion scales so tremendously well. We saw it in game two, and you've talked about it right there. It's this pick for Reeve here just feels so powerful. We need to see if the rest of SK can do as well as they did last game and play to the vein. And this time around, I feel like they're going to have a little bit more of a difficult time trying to find these advantages. I mean, game two there, they got a couple of just 2 versus 2 outright kills where they used the Brom to shut down the Soraka, right? And I don't think they're going to have the same ease of execution versus a Nautilus, significantly tankier champion, and also an Ezreal who also has a lot more disengage potential with that arcane shift. Even if it's getting to a wall and dashing over it, that means the Vayne then has to expend the flash, right, or has to spend all of that time traversing the terrain. So a lot of different things, different variables this game, and I doubt that the Vayne should get this fed in the same manner as game two.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more complex for the Vayne to play this one out. However, after Reeves' performance in the last game, I think we have high comfortability feeling that he does have the potential to pop off on this pick. And so if we see the same Reeve that we saw last game, I think that could be an easy win condition for SK. However, really looking for Vikro to pop off on this Nautilus, shut her down early, and that way it's not a problem for them in the late game.
Exactly. I mean, with that said, I think that's perfectly drawn the picture of how the games want to be played out by both sides. I'm going to cut it to a short intermission right now, where me and Meme will be back afterwards to bring you this game number three. This fabled final game of the series. Nothing really else to it other than that you shouldn't really be going anywhere because we've got game number three right around the corner. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Omega Gaming Esports channel, where we've got Omega Gaming Unleashed up against Suicide Kings here. Omega Gaming Unleashed looking for their first victory, currently 1-1 in this series. Currently haven't managed to find a series win yet in the LHGUL. This time around, though, they've got definitely an opportunity to do so. 1-1 in this series, looking to go for the 2-1 to get themselves on the board in this tournament. I'm Rudude, joined by It's a Meme You Did on the casting desk. How are you doing going into this game number 3?
Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy. It's a meme you dip back with another. I'm alright. I'm not gonna continue that. Looking really forward to this game. Game 3 between Omega Gaming Unleashed and Suicide Kings. Really interested in both of these drafts and how they play out. The Omega Gaming squad seems to have have what they believe to be a counter to the Vayne in the Nautilus. Really looking forward to seeing how that plays out. However, a lot of tools with the Vayne to play with that Morgana, with that Galio. So should be an interesting game to say the least.
For sure, I mean, so much of this game should, for me at least, revolve around that bot lane, because whenever you see a Vayne, it's something to note and something to keep your eye on. But also, we've got a double Juggernaut matchup in the top lane, right? When Riot reworked all of these Juggernauts, they made, Darius, Garen, things like that, something that you can build 1 or 2 damage items on, and then you expect to go fairly tanky, relatively so. But with Mordekai's, this real sort of exception to the rule of this AP tank that really just does a ton of damage, and when you steal the statistics of one of the enemies, if you are able to successfully death realm them, you become so strong and so scary that Mordekai's and Darius, both champions that are able to run over a laning phase and also run over a game as they get fed enough.
Yeah, really will be interesting to see who comes out on top of the 1v1 here. I'm just going to say if I get into a solo queue game and I see a Darius on the enemy team, I am sad for my top laner. However, this is not solo queue. This is organized competition, and so very, very different, and we will see how that plays out in accordance to the rest of the game.
Of course, of course. I mean, both of the top laners taking the door and shield, right? Both respecting one another in terms of just the damage that they can put out. Already see a slight CS lead established for the Darius in that top side of the map, and every time we've panned up there, it's felt like the Mordekaiser has been able to dictate the way the lane has been played out. But Sextoy is displaying a bit of dominance just in terms of I can last hit minions better than you can.
It's definitely a stronger matchup right now for the Darius, getting a little bit of a CS lead. However, one thing I want to note is looking at the bot lane. There's a little bit of a discrepancy in items. We have a cull start from the Ezreal, which is pretty standard. And I hear some people say that cull is like a greedy start, but it's not actually. It actually gives you more lifesteal than Doran's. However, obviously you're missing the health, but that cash out bonus, especially as an Ezreal who wants to just sit back and farm, is so valuable. And so really interesting start from him. Vayne opting for the Doran shield, saying, hey, you know what? I know you got a Nautilus. I don't want to die to that Nautilus. We're going to take the Doran shield.
Exactly. It's just a level of respect being put on, and Alexander could be in danger. He's dead?
Alexander, and that is first blood. He's just dead. That is a flash ignite burned for the side of Princeton. And Alexander's still holding on to his flash. Losing out in that trade in the 1v1, and this is why the Lucian is picked into these control mages like Galio, is that Lucian just really favors well into these matchups and can really put a lot of pressure on the lanes and look for these solo kills because he's such a strong 1v1 laner, especially with that press the attack.
Yeah, and pulls off the solo kill pretty much perfectly, time and time again. Princeton has been nailing the piercing lights through minions to poke down Alexander on repeat, essentially. I went now with the committal of both summoner spells. Just have to be a little bit careful, just in case we get a level 6 all-in with Dread Joker and the Alexander. Maybe even a cheeky roam from Tactics as well. There's a lot of potential for this Lucian to get focused out now. 5 minutes on that flash, but I mean, lots of things to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Alexander is roaming bot side here. He is potentially looking for something. However, that binding from Tactics almost stopped the recall TP from Adjustment that nets him this tier, and that would have been potentially a few minions lost. So just unlucky timing. He's off by about half a second. Otherwise, he would have had that. And so just a little bit tragic on that side. But Adjustment getting back, getting the tier, and being able to farm up that tier early is very, very strong as we get that upgraded mana immune as soon as possible.
Yeah, Tyr and Cull are just Ezreal's love, like, just it's what you love to see in an Ezreal's inventory, right? You know, if I used to, before Cull was a confirmed starting item for me at least, I was just every single game trying to base with about that 1200 gold mark and just go for Tyr and a Cull. Just be able to sit back and farm and then say, I'm having a non-interactive laning phase with you right now. I want to sit, I want to throw my skills at minions. If you get hit by them, that's on you. I'm aiming for the minions, brother. Like, give me my farm and give me my stacks.
Yeah, and that is the value of Ezreal, is that he becomes just this late game monster with insane amount of damage if you are able to hit those mystic shots. And so really valuable to just sit back, farm, say, you know what, we're not looking for solo kills unless our jungler shows up. We're not going to prioritize these things. And we do see actually Princeton and Simulacrum on the bot side here, potentially looking for a blast cone play. They are going to be going. This is going to be a 4-man bot lane, and looking to shut down this Vayne really early. Tactics starting to move back. However, Simulacrum is there. Will the flash be blown? It is. However, the fear, it does go off. Just the heal, barely keeping Tactics alive. Both summoners broke Tactics. However, one thing to note is that Reeve did not blow either of his summoner spells.
Yeah, Flash and Ignite, or Flash and Exhaust rather, still available for the Vayne. So, you know, trying to shut down that Vayne goes successfully to an extent. They don't get the kill, but they force the Vayne out of lane and force it to take a recall that they didn't particularly want, right? The rest of Unleashed collapse as well. They secure themselves the Dragon. And just look at this big wave that Reeve is missing under the turret. So he's going to open up the CS lead for Adjustment just a little bit, but a little bit is enough. And when you're playing up against a Vayne, you take any advantage that you can get.
Absolutely, and that is an Ocean Drake secure with a Infernal Drake on the horizon and Rude. Dare I say it?
Is it the triple?
Are we going to get 3 Mountain Souls in one series? Just loving the mountains today.
The odds are against us, but I mean, this particular cycle of dragons, you kind of have to think about it as that potential triple possibility. I mean, it's that or it's the dreaded Cloud Soul, right? So either way, it's not ideal, right? No team wants a Cloud Soul, though every team will take a Cloud Soul. You would much prefer having one of those more higher impact souls in your team and in the stat block somewhere. But either way, the Mountain Soul, should it come through, will aid both of these teams fairly significantly, and it's fairly easy to just sort of monetize the health that you get from a Mountain Soul and see how effective it is being for you, typically around 300 per person, as Madman gets a nice flash out in the top lane. Sextoy respecting the grasp.
Yep, just respecting him and saying, you know what, nope, I'm not willing to trade this and get greedy and late flash and die. I'm just going to take the early flash and be down a summoner spell. One thing I do want to note, though, however, about the Cloud Soul is that the team of Omega Gaming has a really strong value from the Cloud Soul. You think about, the Mordekaiser ult and being able to get on top of your targets and just murder them in the Death Realm. That benefit of that additional move speed, as well as your Nocturne, you ult in on somebody, you can keep your Sphere on top of them for a little bit longer. There is value from a Cloud Soul, however, obviously not the most ideal soul. However, my bet is on a 3rd Mountain Soul. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen here.
It would complete the fable, really, if we were to get the Mountain Soul, and definitely worth the meme value that we're gonna love and gonna respect. I want to also talk about this mid lane itemization, because Princeton here gone for the mana immune on the Lucian. I mean, this is a fairly greedy style build. Dreadjoker's on a ward here.
Dreadjoker is on a ward. He's gonna have to flash here. That is gonna be a free flash blown if he does not flash there. So really good read. Princeton's gonna get taunted here by Alexander, taking a little bit of chunk damage, and Madman actually really low. The lead is not gonna get him. He'll be able to heal up off the second proc with W. Ult coming in from the Nocturne here. Fear gonna come off, and that is a very dead Darius. And Dreadjoker as well picked up. The sleep is blown. Alexander potentially looking for a taunt here. Is he looking to blow up potentially Princeton? Princeton flashing away with 1 HP. This is coming out here. Tactics looking for the binding, not coming out. Culling does not complete onto Alexander. Alexander will be able to walk away. Princeton walking away. It is just a 2-0 on the side of Omega Gaming Unleashed.
Yeah, I mean, double kill essentially overall, and 2 kills going, 1 to Lucian, 1 to the Nocturne. 2 champions that you want to snowball, and perfect allocation of the resources here. They've secured the Herald. They're now going to start whacking away at some of these top lane plates as well, just before they start falling. Really nice start off for Unleashed here. They're going to get themselves a slight 1k gold lead here. One plate going to be answered back in the mid lane. But this Lucian now fully online, I suppose. Manamune picked up, a couple longswords in his inventory as well. Meanwhile, Vayne and Ezreal just having a nice little handshake down bot lane, saying, yep, we'll just farm it up against one another. But this is the start that we wanted from Unleashed. Probably the first time in this series that they've opened up with an advantage.
Yeah, and a really strong advantage from the laners that we were expecting to see an advantage from early. Princeton and Smalcrum post 6 really showing up, getting that first Nocturnal. Death Realm coming in here from Madman as he does go in on Sextoy. I don't know that Sextoy is going to be able to get out of this. He's going to have to choose to fight. Does not have the dunk available, and Madman will clean him up free of charge there. Finding just falling shy in the bot lane. Hook coming in on Tactics. Black Shield, however, will negate that. Tactics will walk away free of charge.
Yeah, and it really feels like that's probably the first time that Vic's pulled or gone or even thrown a hook. Just because trying to throw the hook and just getting Black Shield is probably one of the more feels bad man situations that you can put yourself in. I mean, you probably throw one at the start to sort of skill check the support and say, do you have the reflexes for this? And at this sort of level, 9 times out of 10 the answer is yes, I have the reflexes for this. So, you know, Vicar sitting at full mana at this point is no surprise to me. And they do wisely back away from that control ward. Don't want to get too baited here. And pretty soon here, Meme, our questions are going to be answered. Infernal Dragon has spawned, and are we going to get that third Mountain Soul? Dread Knight, oh.
Depth Charge coming in. Sleep, however, spell shielded by Smalcrum, and Vicro will pick up the kill there onto Dread Joker. Alexander just getting a little bit. Vicro looking for the auto attack. Potentially caught out Alexander here. The taunt coming out. That is the flash from Alexander. Blown. Great positioning by Vicro there, playing around the vision. Just to get a free flash from Alexander.
Yeah, and they should be able to pick up a free dragon as well right now. Dread Joker obviously dead means that there's no smite, no contest. And Meme, we've been let down.
Oh, this makes me sad. So that it will be the Cloud Soul coming through.
We don't
crying. You're crying.
I'm not crying either. It's the guys at home, they're crying.
It's raining. It's raining. No, so that's not a bad thing for the side of Omega Gaming. It does have some value. Ultimate cooldown reduction is very, very strong, and so they should look to get the next 2 of those here. And so really, really strong on the Mordekaiser. The Nocturne, very, very high value. Obviously, value on the Ezreal Nautilus as well, but really, really high value, I believe, on the Nocturne. However, Vicro getting stunned into the tower, taking a lot of chunk. They're taking to about 3rd health. And he will just back here. He's saying, nope, don't want any of that.
Oh, Smalcrum.
Smalcrum is caught out here by Sextoy. Ult coming through from Alexander. Flash coming out from Sextoy in the dunk, and that is Smalcrum dead to rights on his red buff. Caught out. Really well played as 3 members are just rotating and sitting around the mid lane here.
Yeah, I mean, Sextoy just goes for a wander into the enemy jungle after having pushed a wave. Finds Smalcrum on a red buff, and it's just a free kill for him. Fortunately for the Darius, able to pick up a nice little cash injection after being 0-2 in a lane that the Madman has handily been winning after just the 1 gank from Smalcrum. Tactics goes for a little hook, bind rather, and is able to be evaded by adjustment here.
Yeah, adjustment really starting to pick up here a little bit. He's starting to get a little bit more damage here. Manamune completed on him. He is at 500 stacks, so only about 200 more stacks to go, which is a great place to be in at 14 minutes. You're looking at around an 18-minute or so completion on that Manamune, which is a free 20 completion by any means is a great spot to be in with that Manamune. So really getting that early tier helps him stack that so he will have his power spiked a little bit quicker. He'll be looking next for that. However, Princeton getting flashed on here in the mid lane. He will get drowsy. Princeton getting very low. However, he does trade back on Alexander, and then Malcolm looking here potentially. He's flashing in. He does get it. However, that will be a trade 1-for-1. So there's a 2-for-2 double trade from both teams.
Yeah, and Vikro here just gonna come on in, gets one solitary CS for himself to try and push the wave on in. Tactics actually gonna hold this for the Galio and maybe make the wave in a slightly worse position, but I mean overall it's 2 kills for 2 kills, and when you look at it in that perspective, you have to think that that's actually favourable for the side of SK right now, because they are further behind, and when you're trading evenly from a negative standpoint, that's actually more advantageous for yourself just in terms of profitability and percentages of gold throughout the game. Coming up though, the Herald has respawned. Looks like the Madman was trying to generate that for himself, but unfortunately wasn't able to find it. A little bit of pressure applied was enough, and Princeton gets caught mid lane again. Alexander
doing a lot of damage. However, Princeton is looking for the trade here. TP coming in from Sextoy. Princeton in a really bad spot. Does have the flash available. That's a double TP. However, Vikro caught out a little bit here. He's going to be caught under tower. He's taunted. He's dunked on. He is dead. Vikro overstepping his bounds a little bit too much.
Yeah, not respecting the taunt there from Alexander, nor the Darius pull, using his flash far too late right there, and that's a second kill picked up for Sextoy, and with the ulti still off a cooldown, just gonna, you know, dunk it quickly before it runs out, and, you know, a little bit of damage onto Madman, nothing which is going to particularly take. Princeton.
Princeton finding Alexander, however, he will be 1 HP, and Dread Joker will pick that up.
Once again, just Dread Joker moving on in to swoop up after Princeton pretty much demolishes the one laner. Madman
flashing over the wall, casting Death Realm onto Sextoy. Sextoy getting really low, and he will just fall to the Death Realm. Madman not even have to hit that last mace, just takes him down, gets the free solo kill onto Sextoy.
And this Mordecai is just becoming really scary right now. Level 13, highest level in the game, and by quite a considerable way as well. Has just been sat in this top side of the map, farming up the entire game, essentially. 159 CS at 17 minutes, you know, nearing that 10 CS mark. 13, or level 13, the highest on the enemy team is 12, and it is Alexander in the mid lane who's gone for so much armor that this Galio will get shredded by the Leandries and by the rest of the magic damage from the Mordekaiser. You know, looking at the top side of the map, Sextoy is also only level 11, so that's a 2-level lead for the Mordekaiser. And wisely here for Unleashed, they've transitioned him into the bot lane, whilst obviously this Cloud Drake is spawning, so they're going to have 5 members on the bot side and also have more access to more turrets.
Yep, and just one thing to note here too as they start up this dragon, this Mordekaiser was a first round pick, right? They hadn't even seen the counter pick yet. However, ult's coming down, big team fight breaking out, depth charge coming out onto Alexander. Alexander will drop really quickly here. Alexander's down, Sextoy is down. This is going to look like a wipe for Omega Gaming as Tactics goes down. Reeve, of course, not there. Dread Joker gets out as well. So that is a 3-for-0 on the side of Omega, trading the dragon, of course.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be quite happy with that trade. They don't need to go for all of the Drakes so early on. Yes, it's going to be a bit disappointing that they don't secure the neutral, but they do have the Herald, and they're now going to start forcing down a lot of turrets and generate themselves an even bigger gold lead right here. This Unleashed roster coming up huge at this stage. They're going to probably look for another charge here, get Shelly to dash on in and maybe open up the inhibitor for a future take. But that team fight was so well played, and obviously slightly separated from SK. They were on 2 fronts. 3 of the members sort of focusing on the dragon, and then the frontliners here, Alexander and Sextoy, more so trying to focus on keeping the 3 members out, or the 5 members out of the pit, so they could secure the objective. And yes, the objective was secure, but it was at a great loss here. 4,000 gold behind. And looking across the inventories of Omega Gaming Unleashed right now, Princeton most likely going to go back and pick up an Essence Reaver, but he could be caught by Sextoy.
Yep, he is caught out by Sextoy. He does have to blow a flash. Sextoy flashing back on him. However, the culling coming through. Sextoy getting really, really low. So Malcolm potentially looking for a collapse here. Adjustment is here. Gets hit by the Dark Binding. However, True Shot Barrage comes through. Sextoy will be taken down by Princeton. Dread Joker getting very low as well, and he will die to Adjustment's Mystic Shot.
Yeah, that's 2 kills now for Unleashed on the top side of the map. The Madman getting caught up under the turret. Alexander going to be able to put a lot of pressure down there. Reeve actually taking the mid lane tier 1 turret, so not all doom and gloom, but once again, negative trades for SK. They're making plays happen whilst their team are dying, but it's by no means what they want to be seeing. I mean, double tier build from the marksman of Unleashed, Princeton and Adjustment here. They're just going for this Baron super early off spawn.
Yep, and with no vision from the side of Suicide Kings, it looks like they will be able to take this for absolutely free. Bane's clearing the mid wave. They have no idea this is being taken right now. It's Malcolm getting relatively low. Gonna have to be very careful. He might even smite for help just as they have no idea. They start to suss it out now. They start to move towards it. However, at this point, it is just gone. Ult coming in from Galio. Mordekaiser is big. The ult potentially looking from Malcolm as they potentially look for the re-engage here. Alexander going on to Vicro. Vicro getting relatively low at about a half health. Doctor just gonna recall here as Madman locks Sextoy into the Death Realm. He's really showing up big. He's gonna take down Sextoy. Potentially look for tactics here too. Sleep coming through. He's got the double kill. This is a 1v5 Mordekaiser. Potentially True Shot Barrage comes through. However, he will drop to the shred from Reeve, and that is a 2-for-1 trade from Madman.
Yeah, not for Unleashed. That's a 2-for-1 trade for Madman right there. The rest of Unleashed just went, no, you're on your own, brother. And he goes, right, cracks his knuckles and goes, let's see what I can do here. Picks up 1 kill on the Darius, 1 kill on the Morgana. Falls for his troubles, but, 4 members of Unleashed now sitting with the Baron buff in their inventory as a buff for themselves. Looks like Lucian going down to the bot lane. They're going to send the rest of Unleashed into the mid lane to try and siege up that inhibitor tower now. This is a strong looking game from Unleashed, and with the Baron in their inventory, with the I say in your inventory like it's an item, with the Baron buff on top of them, they should be able to command the next 5 minutes of this game and hopefully segue themselves into a position to probably even break the base open with this push.
Yep, 7,000 gold lead for the side of Omega Gaming. And the story of this series for Omega Gaming has been that man in the mid lane, Princeton, just showing up huge, especially in their first win, and now this game specifically. Lucian is 7-2-3, the 400 gold bounty, up 30 CS on his lane opponent, who is 1-4-2. It's just, he is playing exceptionally well tonight, and just really, really setting the pace for Omega Gaming.
Definitely is an adjustment here. Oh,
but potentially caught out Reeve. Ult from Malcolm goes on to Reeve. Reeve is just dead. That is a dead Reeve. Decro potentially looking for the depth charge here. Will he be able to cast it out? He's just very low. True Shot Barrage coming through onto Dread Joker and Alexander as they potentially look to disengage. So Malcolm, he will chase this down. However, he is rooted. Adjustment getting caught by Sextoy. However, Sextoy getting caught by Adjustment, apparently, as they all dive in. Depth Charge coming in onto 2 there. Death Realm coming out onto Dread Joker. Dread Joker getting extremely low, and that will just be the ace coming through for Omega Gaming as they look to pressure this lead even more.
Yeah, the nice start off of the initial engage from Samalkram finds the Reeve there, the Vayne, caught out entirely, and this Nocturne full assassin mode lethality item with the Umbral Glaive picked up. Reeve just not even using the flash or the exhaust, knowing that they were caught out and knowing that they should just take the L and take the death there. Really nice to see the summoners held onto, but that just segued so far from just being 1 kill in the jungle to a nice chase down from the rest of Unleashed. Vicro with a beautiful stopwatch, baiting up pretty much the entirety of the Suicide Kings into thinking they could kill the Nautilus. They couldn't, and then was able to translate that into another 4 kills, and from that they get so many objectives. Really nice allocation of resources post a team fight. They send Adjustment and Vicro mid lane to secure an inhibitor, Samalkrim onto the Dragon, and the Princeton Wunderkin in the mid lane goes down to bot lane to get another tier 2.
Yep, great team fight for them, but also, like you said, great utilization of resources. They get so much for that play there. Looking at a 10k gold lead, that is huge. That is monstrous. Both Princeton and Adjustment both have their full man immunes at this point. They are very, very strong boys, and it looks like Adjustment is working towards that death stance as well, which means that he will not only be very strong, he's not going to die very easily. And so,
Oh,
really, really
Vicro.
good. Vicro potentially getting caught out here as he does. Ult coming through from Nocturne. However, Vicro will just die. Simulacrum realizing I can't just go in there. 5 members chasing down Adjustment. Not getting the taunt onto him. However, charge coming through, flash coming through, Adjustment getting really, really low, and he will just die there. However, Madman pushing in the side lanes as 5 members are sitting in the mid lane here. Potentially, Madman could get an inhibitor turret as the resets are coming through here.
Yeah, I mean, and just look at the inhibitor that's down in the mid lane. You know, these super minions whacking away at the Nexus turrets here. Princeton gonna maybe be able to secure a turret on the top side, if not do some significant damage to it. So a little bit of a misstep in the mid lane from Vicro and Adjustment, slightly overstepping their bounds. You know, lack of vision and a nice bait, nice trap from the Suicide Kings sort of delays the vision take. I like that Sir Malcolm's trying to use the paranoia to dissuade a continued chase, but it ultimately didn't matter. Now the rest of Unleashed have to pretty much do the work again, but this time do it with a little bit more due diligence. Princeton, though, he's looking to kill Sextoy.
Princeton is moving in on him, using the double tap here to increase his dash cooldown. Dashes in on the Sextoy. He's literally on top of him. He is casticling, and that is just a dead Sextoy. So a 1v1 for Princeton, as he is just monstrous, and nobody should look to 1v1 this man at any point.
No, I mean the 3 completed items that he's got are probably the most raw AD that you will ever get or ever be able to get as an AD carry right now. Mirror Mana completed along with Essence Reaver and the Infinity Edge. If you crit on one of these autos, this Vayne is going to be feeling absolute pain. You know, just E double auto and then Q probably double auto was probably enough to kill the Vayne at this point. Along with the level lead that Princeton has, you know, the base AD that he's got from the levels alone is going to be so huge. And, you know, Baron about to respawn here with this Ezreal, with this Lucian at these huge power points. I mean, this is just going to fall as quickly as it spawned because nobody from Suicide Kings is anywhere nearby.
Yep, and that is just a free Baron. They recognize Madman said, hey, Dread Joker's in the bot lane. He's got the push there. He's got the TP. He can split push effectively. And he's just sitting on this red buff, waiting for someone to come and try and take it. Reeve moving up towards it. Will he get caught out here?
No.
Death Realm coming out from Madman. Reeve is just caught here. However, Reeve looking for the 1v1, but Mordekaiser is just walking on him. Reeve is just dead. Sextoy, however,
Full level lead.
Conquer coming really, really big here. Stopwatch coming through. He does have the shield here in a second, and that is Madman coming up with the double kill, 1-2. Very well played.
Yeah, I mean, he misses everything on the Vayne, but the power of Mordekaiser just compels him to use his ultimate. Flash expended by Reeve, exhaust as well. I mean, Mordekaiser, when you're 4 levels up and you have these level of items, you literally just need to proc your passive with the 3 auto attacks and just sit and laugh at the enemy AD carry as they try and kill you. Reeve playing that fight near as well as he could have done, without effectively dying, but still goes down anyway. One Nexus
He's
turret
just standing
falls.
there.
He really was. That's 2 inhibitors down now, and 1 Nexus turret fell in the meantime as well. Unleashed not really particularly bothered by this Cloud Soul spawning in 20 seconds because they can get 3 inhibitors.
Yep, Drowsy coming on the 2 people.
Oh.
Both people are asleep. That's a 2-man sleep. Madman getting really, really low. However, this could be a potentially good fight for SK, but it just does not matter. They are too far ahead. Dread Joker running down Madman. Madman escaping with just a fraction of health, and that is the ace for Omega Gaming. That is the GG. They are coming in. TP's coming in from the blue buff with a 2 HP Madman as they look to close out this game, and that will be a 2-1 victory. There's the FF coming in. That's a win for Omega Gaming.
Yeah, and the Unleashed guys finally get themselves a win on the board in the LHGUL. So really well played game, obviously here. Nice series to watch as well, and it was well worth the investment to see this Lucian pick come out in R5. You know, that final pick to really take over a game, coming out in its full effectiveness.
Yep, just really, really pleased not only to see Princeton show up the way that he did in the last game, but after last game's performance, Madman really, really stepping up this game, and showing the power of why he got that early pick on the Mordekaiser, and just his ability to carry throughout this game.
It was something to behold. I mean, he no doubt earned the lead that he got, but the part in the end where he just uses his entire combo on Vayne, misses it all, presses R and kills her and the Darius anyway, was just comical to me. I mean, he's definitely been hitting the skill shots previously in the build up. You don't get that fed without doing so. But yeah, this Mordekaiser pick, it normally gets banned away from him, and we really see why there.
Yep. Let's take a glance back at the Baron fight where he, 1v2 there, came up with two double kills in the 1v5. He did hit a bunch of his skill shots then, and that's what helped him get to the level that he was at. But just a really well played lane. Really just used his lead effectively. Split pushed effectively in the bot lane to get them that free second Baron, give them information, and just overall really, really well played by the Madman, especially after last game's performance. Was really looking for him to step up this game.
It was something incredible to watch. So I mean, well played to the Unleashed guys, and commiserations to the Suicide Kings there, because they played admirably. Really, I mean, Reeve on the Vayne was sort of delight to watch. Dread Joker playing pretty well, like consistently as the jungle pick for SK. So lots of things for them to be happy about this series, and obviously lots of things for Unleashed to be happy about. And both of the teams will have something to go back and dwell on, and come back next week even stronger.
Yeah, I think especially after a three-game series like this, both teams can take a good hard look at their losses and say, okay, what did we do wrong? How can we improve? What did we mess up? Was it draft? Was it execution? Where can we look to improve this? How can we better execute on these things? And so I think it's just a very valuable series for both teams as they walk away from this saying, you know what, there's improvement areas for both of us.
Exactly. And with that all being said and done, I want to thank you, Meme, for joining me on the caster desk as we round out tonight's broadcast, because it's been, wonderful to work with you and to showcase this series as well, Unleashed coming out on top. Any final words before we round out?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much for casting with me, Ruda. Always a pleasure. And thanks for bearing with my memes.
Hey, the memes are what make the dreams, okay? And we didn't get the triple mountain souls, but hey, we did our best. So all of that being said and done, we are going to close out the broadcast tonight. Thank you, everybody, for coming out on your Friday evenings to support Unleashed, support the guys at Omega as well. We do appreciate you all. And be sure to join us tomorrow night when me and Diatropa will be back with some Risen action. I believe we're going to be taking you through, I believe it is the Omega Gaming Luna, or it's actually not. I'm completely lying to you. We've got some more LHG action for you with Omega Gaming Tempest versus who I thought we were playing against tonight, Orbital Gaming Aurora tonight. So good work by everybody tonight. Thank you everybody for coming out and supporting, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.